anybody in Albany hear us? Or
We
anybody
can hear you.
online?
This is the Marth. Good morning. This is the Marth H. 2023 meeting of the Rochester Regional Board of Review. This hearing is being held via video conference call, WebEx, at the following locations: Greece Town Hall and at the New York State Department of State offices at 99 Washington Street, conference room 505. Time is now 9:07. This hearing is officially open. Members of the board joining us today are, to my left, Rick Papage. Mark Kavanaugh is joining us virtually, as is Jackie Coons from the Albany board. My name is James Burton, and I serve as chairman of this board. From the Department of State, consulting with us today is Dan Fairley. Now hear the scheduled petition. When you speak, please address the board and not the petitioner. Give your name, title, and legal address so that the court reporter can have all the information requested. We may have to stop from time to time to consult with our technical staff. Making comments to the board, please provide a descriptive narrative on matters referring to your exhibits to enable the court reporter to enter these into the record, such as north, south, east, west, up, down, etc. This first hearing is in the matter of petition number 2023-0019. Petitioner is Helio Health. This petition pertains to the alteration of an existing building of occupancy use groups B, business, and I1, institutional, of construction type 2B, non-combustible, unprotected, 2 stories in height, 21,620 square feet in gross floor area, known as Helio Health, located at 1850 Brighton Henrietta Town Line Road, Town of Brighton, County of Monroe, State of New York. Petitioner is seeking relief from 19 NYCRR Part 1225, the Fire Code of New York State, Section 915.5, occupant notification, which states that building occupants shall be notified of the presence of carbon monoxide through the use of audible notification, visible notification, or both. Selection, design, and location of notification appliances shall be in accordance with this Section 915 and NFPA 720. Petitioner is seeking relief from the requirement that carbon monoxide alarm notification be sent directly to the carbon monoxide detection devices. Petitioner is also seeking relief from 19 NYCRR Part 1225 Fire Code of New York State, Section 915.5.1, audible notification, which states that the selection, design, and location of audible notification appliances shall be based on the sound pressure level produced by the appliance, the average ambient sound level in the room being protected, the maximum sound level in the room being protected. The anticipated average ambient sound level and the maximum sound level shall be consistent with the proposed use. Average ambient sound level shall be determined in accordance with any of the following: 1 NFPA 720 Table A 6.4.2, which refers to average ambient sound level according to location, or 2, the actual sound levels in the room affected is determined and documented by the system designer, or number 3, approved published literature. Petitioner is seeking relief from the requirement that carbon monoxide alarm notification be sent directly to the carbon monoxide detection devices. You proceed.
My name is Lisa G. Rice.
Hey, Dan.
Yeah, Barbara?
We can't hear. All right. Is anybody talking right now?
Yeah, I'll actually have her move her microphone closer.
Moving my, is that
Oh.
better?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, sorry. Okay. What we are asking for is on the second floor of the facility, this is where the patient bedrooms are located. There are carbon monoxide detectors hallway or codes within the distances of the doorways. And having each one of these devices have sound activation, we are asking that the devices on the second floor go to a fire alarm enunciation panel, staff station on the second floor, and enunciate their staff station is manned 24/7, where they could determine whether it's a detector on the second floor or if it's a first floor, do an investigation before they do a complete evacuation of the patients. It's it's on request. The detection is there. It's the audible notification. Second floor bedrooms. There are no gas appliances on the second floor. The forced air are heated by a radiant panel with hot water, and the forced air that comes up is also heated by boilers on the first floor. There is no direct gas to the heat second floor. There is one fired system that is up on the roof. It is the makeup air function only. I think so.
Okay. So how many staff are at this constantly attended monitoring station on the second floor all the time?
Minimally, there's 5 to 7.
So is there anything in the healthcare regulations or any other reason why the facility might choose to reduce that number of staff? Seems like an unusually large number of people sitting in one space looking at monitors all the time.
Well, the 5 to 7 at the nighttime hours are probably more likely. There during the day, there's at least usually there's more than 5 to 7, but there's probably at least a steady 3 to 4. So they should change that number.
And these people are moving back and forth, patient needs and so
Not
forth.
some are, and some are at the stations all the time. Yeah. At least station.
Hey, Dan? We can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We can't
Okay.
hear-
Better? Better yet?
Yes, thank you.
No problem. Same problems. Yeah. Rick Papich, my question to the petitioner is, the result of this is in an effort to basically remove the audible sounds within the hallways and near the rooms to, I guess, prevent anyone's disorientation should they go off. Curious to note where that comes from. Is there studies, behind that process? Are there ever any conditions where they do basically a test where it's like you do a fire drill or a drill like that, so that the folks that are in there do understand what an audible sound would mean in that regard?
Dan? We can't hear you.
Speaking,
Yep,
we don't
okay.
hear it.
I'm not going to be able to reference specific studies, but operation-wise, hospitals that are referenced in I-2 operate this way so that we do not they do not have undue confusion for the patients and undue evacuations for the situations. Patients here are usually here about 3 days. Some are a little longer. That's the majority of the program. Obviously, be told that when, say, the smoke detector alarm goes off, we'd like to investigate a CO because of where the CO potential problems are more find in the mechanical or kitchen area that go and investigate before they evacuate the whole.
Let's make a clarification. Said I2, I believe.
This is an I1, but I'm saying
Thank you.
it operates in what I cited, which is, probably not correct, but in the code, it does allow for I2 to have a supervisory signal, and that's what we are kind of asking to follow along with as the policy on the second floor.
Mark or Jackie, either one of you have any questions for the applicant?
I do, Jim.
I do.
So, okay, so first question I have is, can you please, I don't know Nancy's last name, but can Nancy or someone from Helio please explain the Helio's procedures for carbon monoxide detector activation?
When they receive an alarm in the visual, they have a facility person or a dedicated staff person that will go to the location that the addressable device is there and see if there is something that is up wrong. If they can determine that it's not a major pilot light or something like that that can be rated. Other than that, then they would go back and pull a fire, go into evacuation if they cannot determine that it can be determine what the situation is and be correct. So we have a policy.
So if the facilities investigates, do they have a carbon monoxide handheld detector?
I don't know if I can answer that. I would, if not, they would get one, but right now I can't tell you 100% if they have one that detects the extreme levels or not.
Okay, so
They probably should. They may.
so the second question I had, are there visible devices for carbon monoxide detector in the corridors?
Detectors are in the corridor upstairs, yes.
Correct. I'm wondering if there's visuals. So is there a strobe that says carbon monoxide detector that gets activated when the carbon monoxide detector is activated?
There is not at this point.
Okay. And the next question I have is, would you entertain a voice notification? So if your basis for your claim, it's I understand it, would be that your patients would be confused with the carbon monoxide detector alarm, would a voice notification be an acceptable alternative? So instead of having a 4-temporal tone, it would say carbon monoxide detector activated outside room 123.
I don't know if the system that we have said it's 100% voice activation. I'd have to find out if that could be done. Maybe they have a PA system that. Well, I'd have to find out if there is a voice notification with the fire alarm system. If there is, we could do that.
Okay, and then back on your.
Would that be you're thinking that every CO detector would have that?
No, I'm assuming you have an alarm system in the building, so therefore the speakers in the building would say carbon monoxide detector activated outside room 123. Not the individual detectors.
I don't believe we have fire alarm speakers throughout the building. We only have 8 strobes and horns, so I'd have to add speakers throughout.
And then you talked about, I thought I heard you say that facilities investigates, but in your previous comments, I thought I heard you say that you would do an evacuation.
If they could not determine that it can be, what the situation is, or that it can be fixed.
And is facilities on site 24/7?
There are, pretty much, yes, there is a person that is a facilities person, and then there's a designated person that serves that role on the off hours, yes.
So the off hours person, they come in.
No, it's a staff member that is there.
Okay, so you do have facilities 24/7.
Designated.
Okay.
That person may not be a maintenance person, but there's a designated person to investigate.
All right, and then I'll wait to see if the town is going to, or the code enforcement official is going to speak. But Jim, that's it for now.
Thanks, Mark. One follow-up question on slide, please. So, can you tell the board whether or not the person that's going to investigate any time of the day or night is qualified to know where to look and how to determine whether or not the person should recommend an evacuation or is authorized to proceed with evacuation?
The person that is there is a facilities person that is familiar with the gas equipment. The off-hour one is more of a staff person and is shown where to, what to look for. And having a heater would be, I don't know if they have one, I should have asked that, but that would be a good idea, and then they can make that final determination on the readings.
Just for the record, the board notes that many of the combustible gas detectors effective if the facility were to purchase one.
Volume is getting lower and lower as you speak.
Okay, sure. And they may, I apologize, I did not ask if they. Okay.
I have another question, follow-up, Rick Papich. Nancy, it was mentioned, just came to me that about the fire alarm system that's in place. Is that an audible system?
Yes.
What's the differentiation then between having an audible system for the fire alarm and CO?
Well, the CO locations are in the mechanical room with the boiler and the hot water and the gas stove in the kitchen, so it's a limitation area that isn't on the second floor or doesn't serve the second floor. And the smoke system, obviously we wouldn't want an exception, although they do have nuisance evacuations and issues. Patients sometimes, I know they've had one incident where somebody ended up smoking and set off the smoke detectors. So, they're both very important and concerned, but the CO is something that is in limited locations of at least the source. There's no direct distribution to the rooms. That's why they would like to have less issues. Hopefully they won't have any issues, but we discussed the option of doing a supervisory signal up on the second floor.
Jackie, you have any questions for the applicant?
Some of them have been answered, I guess. I just want to go through them and clarify. So I thought we were asking to avoid an audible signal, but now she also wants to avoid evacuation if there is some type of signal. Is that correct?
No.
No, I don't believe
So anytime that a signal is received, they would still evacuate, even though someone's going to investigate before they decide if there's the presence of CO?
They would investigate, and then if there is a true issue or that can't be immediately rectified, then they would evacuate.
Right,
But
so
they
you
would
aren't
investigate first.
evacuating upon signal then, you're evacuating upon investigation by an individual with an undetermined type of meter because you haven't looked into a meter yet. So you don't know if it's a meter that says yes or no to the presence of CO, or if it measures the level of CO. And then you don't have a plan for calibration because you don't have a plan for said meter yet.
That is true that I do not know the details on the meter. It would more likely be a level one, of course, so that they would know. And the idea would be to find out if it was like a pilot light or something in the mechanical room, and that could be rectified before evacuating out.
And at what point would the fire department be notified? Upon signal to the panel or upon this investigation of a possible source?
It would be upon investigation of a possible source.
Okay, thank you.
And most likely, to be honest, chances are, I'll be honest, is that chances are it will be an evacuation, but at least they would control the evacuation as opposed to hearing the four tones and then having it immediately go out.
Enforcement official? Good morning. My name is Christopher A. Roth, R-O-T-H. I am the Chief Fire Marshal with the town of Brighton, New York, 2300 Elmwood Avenue, Rochester, New York, 14618. Good morning, members of the board. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to be heard. There's a couple things that we always put on the table first. As a code official for 27 plus years, we support the code as it's written. There's a reason that it's written in certain formats. And we always come out and say that our position is to support the book as it's been written to make enforcement and application uniform. There are a couple items that I wanted to bring to your attention through this process. I did supply a handout to the members that are here. On my front page, we did a plan review for the fire alarm installation of this particular project. We had 3 renderings. The first 2 were rejected because they failed to provide carbon monoxide detection within 10 feet of the sleeping room. They went back and put that in, and within their matrix, which is in compliance with NFPA 72 items to be supplied, it said that they would activate a temporal 4 coded audible and visual alarm within the matrix. So they was telling the alarm company how the system was to be programmed and installed for final acceptance testing. And then within their device legend, it does call for an addressable photoelectric smoke detector with CO base, simplex with the various model numbers. So it was our understanding from the very beginning that this was to be provided with audible notification in compliance with the code. A small side note, the plans that were submitted to the town were stamped by Turner Engineering, which was an engineering firm that meet the requirements for the educational code. The stamp came to the town, we reviewed the plans and submitted our comments back, ultimately issuing an installation permit. I believe, and I'm not an expert in the education law, but by asking for this potential modification, would you be now modifying somebody else's plan that was stamped that's not present here at the hearing? So therefore, again, trying to understand the hierarchy here within the stamping process. I believe Nancy came on the record that said that she was the designer of record, but is Turner working for her? Is Turner working for the alarm company? And in that case, are we changing the design of the system without their knowledge or understanding by granting such a variance?
I will go on the record by saying I would respectfully ask for you to deny this. I think there's many challenges that come with the particular request. One is, most of you have identified, is the education and training component as well as the equipment component. You have a maintenance person. What happens if they call in sick? What happens if the person has a substitute that's there? Is that training level going to be applied to those? Do they have the proper equipment? Is the equipment been maintained? Is it battery powered up? Is it a 4-gas meter? Do they measure for levels of oxygen that may be depleted versus levels of CO? And as Chairman Burton indicated, there are several problems that come with how we monitor those kind of levels into the building. Which leads me to the other concern that the last young lady from Albany brought up, to the point of notification to the fire department. Now we've sort of put the steering wheel into the facility's hand as to at what point or what threshold does a particular incident cross over to provide notification to first responders. And then when the fire department may or may not get there, they would be found or presented with a building that could potentially still be occupied and not evacuated. On the same parallel, Nancy indicated that these people would be in a transient kind of situation of 3 days or less. I'm not sure that we would allow this kind of situation in a hotel or motel for people to be checking in over the weekend and said, look, we wouldn't be providing the same level of care. I believe that this potentially eliminates their ability for self-preservation and able to make decisions to whether they want to evacuate the building. Maybe they have more information as to sickness, health, or other situations that they may have observed. I also think that it would be problematic for the fire marshal's office as well as the emergency responders. It seems like the request has been to sort of shift this back to the emergency evacuation plan. It's back to training of staff. It's back to other things. And I think that I can speak for my workload. We are probably 5 times busier than we need to be. We don't have staff enough to even deal with some of the day-to-day routine inspections. For us now to have to review emergency evacuation plans, make sure that people are trained, make sure that they're in place, would be an unreasonable burden for the town of Brighton to take on. I also wanted to add, Nancy made a comment about a staff member making an evaluation of a situation, whether they had equipment and training, but then reaching over and activating the fire alarm for the evacuation. I think that's in conflict with NFPA 720. You shall not use a fire alarm device to evacuate for a carbon monoxide situation. I know it may be a little bit of an extreme and a stretch, but I think that the intent is there, that we are not sending a cross message to evacuate or try to evacuate people in a carbon monoxide situation using the red notification fire alarm devices. Mark Kavanaugh asked about visual notifications within the space. NFPA 720 does not require visual notification until an area reaches above 110 decibels. So at that point, we had none of those particular sound levels in this building. So there are no visual notification devices within this particular establishment. 2 other points I'd like to bring up as I conclude. Part of the listing of the carbon monoxide device is going to be a UL 2034. For those of you that may not be as geeky as I am regarding carbon monoxide detection and smoke detection, UL 2034 has some thresholds that are inherently built into this. I'm allowed to be next to 30 parts per million for a period of up to 7 hours. And then the threshold goes up from there. It goes up to 40 that you can be next to for a next, I don't have the exact number off the top of my head, but the increments go up and up. So OSHA does allow us be allowed next to carbon monoxide for certain periods of time. So again, I don't feel that there shall be such there's an eminence to investigate and look at this, but there's not one to basically to evacuate the building. I think that it's highly unlikely that you're going to have a situation where it goes from 0 to 1,000 in a matter of minutes. If it is, that's the purpose of the detection, to say that there was a significant change, alerting the occupants that those situations happen. I do want to share a real life situation with you, because I think this is important. Back in 2015-16, when 1228.4 came out and we started initiating commercial carbon monoxide detection in commercial buildings, we asked a building to put detection in. This particular one was a warehouse office setting, and we were reluctant, obviously, to put it in the warehouse setting because of tow motors, suspended heaters, other fuel-burning appliances that could possibly cause nuisance or false alarms. So we placed it in the office area that had a door and a separation there. And 2 days after we put the installation in, the manager called me on the phone and he says, "Chris, that stupid thing's going off that you made me put in." So we went out and evaluated. We said, let's move it a little bit further back in. There happened to be a locker room that was the next barrier back. So we said, let's put it in the locker room. Let's see how that goes. 2 days later, he called me back on the phone and says, "Chris, that stupid thing's going off again." So we happened to find another area within that little manned space, and we moved it a third time. 2 days went by, he called me back and said, "Hey, Chris," and I'm like, "Let me guess, that stupid thing's going off again." He says, "No, I want to let you know." He says, "It went off, but I finally brought somebody in to take a look at it, and the 2 suspended heaters out in the warehouse, the flues were plugged." So the device was doing exactly what we've asked it to do, but we've programmed ourselves this to be a nuisance alarm. So I think that this is applicable here, that we are setting this up to be a nuisance alarm before we even know that there is a problem in this building. So I'm cautioning you to granting relief from this, because we do have nuisance alarms. We have them in smoke. People burn toast every day. People do all kinds of unique things, but there are ways to deal with those situations, whether it is moving detection, whether it is altering the location of it, whether it is technology of adding cross-zone verification and other things. I think to blanketly just come out of the gate and ask for relief is very short-sighted, at least in my opinion at this point. At that point, the only thing that I want to add, I know this board is not in a position to make changes. I think the law is important. I think the law is clear that says the governor at the time wanted us to put carbon monoxide in commercial buildings. And the law is 2 lines, very specific. The 16 pages of regulation that has evolved through 2 renderings is daunting. To walk into a business owner and say, let's put carbon monoxide detection in a commercial building, is a matrix in itself in trying to get this completed. Do you have HVAC zones? Oh, by the way, there is no definition in the mechanical code, property maintenance code, fire code, building code to what an HVAC zone is. I looked it up, I researched it, there is no such definition in any of those codes. So we're asking you to put a carbon monoxide detection device in an HVAC zone that we as a code official have no clarity on. What I continue on with is the other part of this is the business owner simply just wants to put a device in and looks to us for guidance, and we have to come back and go, how many rooftop units do you have? Where are these things located? And then we run into the evacuation process, the training and so forth. So again, I politely say, I know that you can't fix this, but I'm asking somebody in Albany to take a hard look at this, because the 16 pages at 1228.4 prior to this was bad when we used to have to do 10,000 square foot, 100 foot to a detector, different zones. That was bad enough. But when they quote unquote modified this the last time for the 2020 code, it got terrible. It's to a point where it used to say if I put a sprinkler system or a fire alarm system in a new constructed building, I automatically put that on the system. Gone. No leadership on that, no guidance as to where that goes. I've asked that question of Albany, and to this day, 3 years later, I'm still waiting for my answer. I'm just politely trying to explain to you as the board that this law is important, but you haven't given the code official the appropriate tools to apply it.
Thank you. So, have you performed fire safety inspections at this facility in the past?
I conducted all the commissioning inspections for this particular building.
How old is the facility?
20-plus years. It was like the original urgent care back in the day when urgent care first came out of the box.
Somebody on your staff performs annual fire safety inspections at this facility?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell the board what your experience has been with the history of this facility? Would you rate them very high in terms of how well they maintain the facility and maintain their records for life and fire safety systems?
I'm asking an apple and an orange because Helio bought this from a different company, so the prior inspections were conducted with a different firm. LaChase used to be the property management company for that. It did an excellent job. Helio bought the building and basically gutted it for their purposes, so we have not had an opportunity to establish that kind of relationship yet.
Fair enough. And no other experience with Helio as an organization?
As my experience with Helio, through this plan review process as well as acceptance testing, their best foot forward has always been there. They've always wanted to do the right things. They've always had the appearance of going above and beyond in some cases. So I think they have the right intentions, but my reluctance is, let's be honest with each other, the people that are in the trenches that are working based on the current job market that we have, based on the training levels of those people, retention of some of those employees, I think it would be a little larger than I think that they're ready to take on.
Is there anybody else that wishes to speak on this matter? Okay, this time the board is close the hearing and stop to deliberate. We'll ask to step out into the hallway and there's a waiting area. It's there. One of us will come and get you when we're ready. 2-3 days. Good, Barb?
You all set?
Hey, on the application of Pathfinder Engineers and Architect and upon taking testimony and hearing argument thereon, duly noticed hearing before the Western Region Rochester Board of Review. This hearing was held via video conference call, WebEx at the Town of Greecetown Hall, 1 Finstoffany Boulevard, Community Rooms A and B in Rochester, New York, on March 8th, 2023, as well as at the Department of State conference room 505. On all other papers in this matter, the board makes the following determination. This petition pertains to the alteration of an existing building of groups B, business, and I-1 institutional occupancies of type 2B, non-combustible, unprotected construction, 2 stories in height, 21,620 square feet in gross floor area, known as Helio Health, located at 1850 Brighton Henrietta Town Line Road, Town of Brighton, County of Monroe, State of New York. Petitioner is seeking relief from 19 NYCRR Part 1225, Fire Code of New York State, Section 915.5, occupant notification, which states that building occupants shall be notified of the presence of carbon monoxide through the use of audible notification, visible notification, or both. Selection, design, and location of notification appliances shall be in accordance with this section 720 and 19 NYCRR Part 1225 Fire Code of New York State Section 915.5.1 audible notification which states that the selection, design, and location of audible notification appliances shall be based on the sound pressure level produced by the appliance, the average ambient sound level in the room being detected, and the maximum sound level in the room. Average anticipated ambient sound level. Maximum sound level shall be consistent with the proposed use. Average ambient sound level shall be determined in accordance with any of the following. NFPA 720, Table 8.6.4.2, or actual sound levels in the room being protected as determined and documented by the system designer, or published literature. Findings of fact. Number 1. Subject petition pertains to the alteration of existing building that will contain 53-bed addiction treatment center with an occupancy classification of 1, condition 2. Number 2. Occupancy classification I1, condition 2 is reserved for buildings in which there are any persons receiving custodial care, require limited verbal or physical assistance while responding to an emergency situation to complete a building evacuation. Number 3. Petitioner proposes to install carbon monoxide detection devices in the second floor corridor, shown on Exhibit C, drawing number E02.1. Number 4. Petitioner is seeking relief from the requirements of the 2020 Fire Code of New York State, sections 915.5 and 915.5.1, that require audible notification of the carbon monoxide alarms to be provided directly to the device. Number 5. Petitioner indicates sending the carbon monoxide audible notification directly to the device or appliance. The petitioner indicates that sending the carbon monoxide audible notification device directly to the device or appliance would be disruptive and or may cause patient confusion during activation. 6. As an alternative to compliance with the 2020 Fire Code of New York State, sections 915.5 and 915.5.1, petitioner proposes to send a carbon monoxide audible notification to a fire alarm annunciator panel located on the second floor of the building, shown on Exhibit C, drawing 2.1. 7. The petitioner indicates that the room containing the fire alarm annunciation panel will be staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Staff members will monitor the audible notification appliances and implement patient notification and evacuation procedures in accordance with the facility fire safety plan as warranted. Qualifications for that staff charged with investigating a CO alarm. 8. Section 915.5.4 of the 2020 Fire Code of New York State permits carbon monoxide alarm signals to be transmitted to an on-site staff location for groups E or I2 occupancies with exceptions. Number 9, the petitioner requests that this building be allowed to comply with 915.5.4 of the 2020 Fire Code of New York State rather than that required by sections 5.5 and 95.5 Fire Code of New York State. Number 10, code enforcement official presented testimony at the hearing does not support the granting of the variance under 19 NYCRR 1205 for a variety of reasons, including A, there is no clear definition of how long a staff member might take to investigate a CO alarm before deciding to evacuate the facility. B, it's unclear as to whether the person investigating the alarm would be authorized to force an evacuation. C, the petitioner suggested that the emergency responders would be notified by activating a manual pull station on the fire alarm system, which is not permitted under NFPA 72. E, fire department notification via the fire alarm control panel could potentially send an incorrect signal affecting how responders might approach the facility upon arrival. Finding number 11, the board finds that the petitioner failed to demonstrate how proposed alternatives would provide a level of safety consistent with the intent of the Uniform Code. Finding number 12, the board finds that the granting of the requested variance would adversely affect the health, safety, and security of this facility. In accordance with the above findings and based on the information presented and testimony given, the board finds that strict compliance with the provisions of the Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code not achieve the intended objective. Granting of the requested variance would substantially adversely affect the code's provisions for health, safety, and security. Wherefore, it is determined application for a variance from 19 ICRR Part 1225, Sections 915.5 be and is hereby denied. This decision is limited to the specific building and application before it as contained within the petition, should not be interpreted to give implied approval of any general plans or specifications presented in support of this application. Do I have a motion?
Motion so moved.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll
Mark
second.
Kavanaugh.
Okay, the record should show that Mr. Papich moved the motion. Ms. Coons seconded. So, vote of the board, Mr. Papich?
Oh, just, aye.
Ms. Coons?
Aye.
Mr. Kavanaugh?
Aye.
I will vote aye, and the record should reflect that this motion was passed by a vote of 4-0. With that, we'll declare this hearing closed.